So to say Tropic Thunder is a crazy, outrageous comedy may be an understatement, as this one breaks all the rules. This naughty little comedy action romp from 2008 was the creation of Ben Stiller, where he plays Tug Speedman, a leading Hollywood action movie star, whose popularity has stalled, where he agrees to star in a war movie biopic called Tropic Thunda, which then leads to him and his fellow Academy Award-hungry actors finding themselves in a real-life jungle in the middle of a dangerous drug cartel, relying only on their acting skills to keep them alive, in this comedy classic that's a satire on Hollywood's excesses and narcissisms. Now, I'll admit, at first I was kind of hesitant to talk about Tropic Thunder. In recent years it has drawn in some controversies and criticisms, and a part of me thought, let's just not open up this can of worms, and maybe just sit this one out, you know? Sometimes life is easier when you don't rock the boat. But then I saw that Tropic Thunder is available to buy or rent on YouTube, and I thought, well, if it's good enough for YouTube, then it's good enough for me. If YouTube is allowed to explore this movie, then so am I. So with that, 10 things that you didn't know about the awesomely funny and controversial Tropic Thunder. Let's check it out. Number 10. The movie was conceived 21 years before its release. Tropic Thunder came from the mind of Ben Stiller, as mentioned, who in the 90s and 2000s really became a leading force in the comedy genre in movies, thanks to his efforts in There's Something About Mary, Meet the Parents, and Zoolander, as well as other memorable funny movies. However, he first came up with the concept of Tropic Thunder in his early Hollywood days. It was while shooting the 1987 Steven Spielberg-directed war movie Empire of the Sun, in which Stiller had a minor role in it, where while filming the movie, he conceived Tropic Thunder. The concept of the movie was a comical take on actors who believe they are way more important than what they actually are, who may also believe that they are real soldiers because they take part in a military boot camp in order to prepare for a movie. So I don't know if there were actors behind the scenes of Empire of the Sun who were like, I did a boot camp, so I'm a soldier now. But either way, it got the gears tinkering in Stiller's head to make Tropic Thunder. Number 9. The original premise. So coming on board to help Ben Stiller to write his Hollywood slap-in-the-face war comedy was actor and filmmaker Justin Theroux, who would also go on to work on the scripts for Iron Man 2 and Rock of Ages, and recently appeared in cinematic abomination Beetlejuice, but I won't get into that. The original premise of Tropic Thunder was a bunch of Hollywood actors whom attend a boot camp to prepare for a movie, but end up being traumatized, no doubt not being a match for the physical and mental endurance for preparing for war. But as the script evolved, it was changed to showing the actors in an actual war, be that a small-scale one with a drug farm, with Tropic Thunder parodying war movies set in Vietnam, like Apocalypse Now, Rambo, Platoon, and Full Metal Jacket. According to the Yardbarker.com, Justin Theroux would say that as time went on, something that made the story of Tropic Thunder something that audiences could actually believe was the increase of gossip celebrity news companies like TMZ, which gave audiences an insight into the bizarre Hollywood actor subculture, as well as the bizarre workings of the Hollywood system in general. And so, just like that, the production was picked up by Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks Pictures. Number 8. The original choice for the main lead, which led to the creation of another character. Yeah, look, it'll all make sense in a minute. So not only did Stiller co-write and direct Tropic Thunder, but of course he also stars as the movie's main lead, Tug Speedman. However, the original idea was to cast Keanu Reeves as Tug Speedman, with Stiller playing the lesser role of Speedman's agent, Rick Peck. However, Reeves didn't take on the role, and so Stiller himself stepped up to play Speedman. Tom Cruise was then offered to star as Rick Peck, but Cruise then got the idea of playing a comical, larger-than-life studio executive, which is where the Les Grossman character was created. A standout character in the movie, modelled after producer Scott Rudin and real-life movie-producing ghoul Harvey Weinstein. To play the part, Cruise was under heavy prosthetic makeup, where he was transformed into a bald, overweight man. And it was also his idea for the character to have overly large hands. I always thought that was such a weird detail that he had big-ass hands. They also wanted to keep his part a secret, without it being revealed that he's in the movie till after its release. Now, some pictures of Cruise on set did leak, but Cruise's lawyers got them removed real quick by threatening lawsuits if anyone dares to publish them. And thus one of the movie's most iconic characters was born. Number 7. The creation of the movie's most controversial character. So with both Ben Stiller and Tom Cruise passing on playing the Rick Peck character, Stiller's then go-to for the part was his frequent collaborator, Owen Wilson. But seeing how he had real-life turmoil at that time, he was unavailable, where Matthew McConaughey was cast instead. And so Tropic Thunder has a huge lineup of co-stars, all getting their funny on in order to make the movie the classic that it is. Including, but not limited to, Jack Black as the drug-fueled Jeff Portnoy, Nick Nolte as Four-Leaf Tayback, Steve Coogan as Damien Cockburn, Brandon T. Jackson as Al Pacino, as well as Bill Hader as a studio executive and many, many more. However, the most controversial character is, without a doubt, Kirk Lazarus, played by Robert Downey Jr., a white Australian actor who has undergone a pigmentation alteration in order to play a black character in the movie within the movie. Now, considering cultural sensitivity standards have changed since 2008, the character does often lead to discussion and debate. The character of Kirk Lazarus came to be because of a gag of how far some method actors would go to play movie roles. Robert Downey Jr. was actually approached to play the part by Ben Stiller while he was on holiday in Hawaii. Downey Jr. thought that it was the most stupidest idea he had ever heard, to which Stiller replied, "I know, isn't it great?" As supposedly even Downey Jr.'s mum was trying to beg him not to take on the part because it sounded so outrageous and offensive. Robert Downey Jr. modelled the character after well-known method actor Daniel Day-Lewis, as well as basing him on other actors including Russell Crowe and Colin Farrell. Interestingly, the character was originally meant to be Irish, but Downey Jr. wanted to play the part as an Australian, as he previously played an Aussie in Natural Born Killers. And in addition to all that, movie makeup effects legend Rick Baker created the race-changing makeup effects for the character. So essentially, this is an American playing an Australian pretending to be African American. Well, personally, I find it really offensive. Yup. Completely unacceptable. He is pretending to be Australian, like me, and he's not. Okay, that's just a joke. It's just a joke. On a serious note, yes, on the surface, the character essentially is in blackface. Yep, there really is no way around this. This is definitely blackface. But I think the gag of the character is not that he's in blackface, nor making fun of people of colour, but rather the gag is he is such a method actor. Look at the lengths he went to for a film role. What an absolute moron. How out of touch could he honestly be? So I think the joke is at the expense of the character himself, and that the movie is in no way promoting blackface. So what do you guys think? Is the character offensive, or is this just edgy humour being judged upon reflection at a time when the world has changed since when it was made? Number 6, filming location. Now, the production needed a jungle setting which could be used to film the comical war of Tropic Thunder, and it seemed the production was going to head down to Mexico for filming. Despite this though, Stiller then chose the Hawaiian island of Kauai. For if anything, because the production got a tax credit. And it was felt because it looked like it could double for Vietnam, where the movie within the movie was set. Now, the island has been used for the location for several movie productions, including Raiders of the Lost Ark, the 1976 adaptation of King Kong, and 6 Days, 7 Nights. However, by the time the cast and crew of Tropic Thunder arrived, no movie production had been filmed on the island in 5 years. So it was hoped by the locals that this would put Kauai back on the pop cultural map, and Tropic Thunder's production did bring $60 million into the local economy. And filming the movie there actually did help and lead to more movie productions to also be filmed at the location, as several years later, some scenes for Jurassic World were also filmed on the island. And of course, additional scenes for Tropic Thunder were also filmed at Universal Studios in Hollywood. Number 5. Jack Black's hairy encounter. So as mentioned, Jack Black plays the funny part of Jeff Portnoy, an actor struggling with addictions, who is the toilet humour archetype in movies. Well, Black actually had strong reservations about starring in the movie, simply because he didn't want to dye his hair the light blonde colour we see in Tropic Thunder. But thankfully he went through with it regardless. Going back to yardbarker.com, Black did not have the easiest start when filming the movie, as early on in the shoot, he bruised his ribs during the filming, and just had to see it through with the rest of the filming. In fact, despite its impressive lineup of cast members, there supposedly were actually several actors who were offered to star in the movie but didn't want any part of it, one of them even being Kevin Hart. The actor who was going to star in the mock trailer for Satan's Alley alongside Robert Downey Jr. also bailed, but at the last minute, to which they somehow managed to get Tobey Maguire, but even then he was only available for 2 hours of filming. With the mock-up trailer being filmed at a lightning speed pace. Number 4. The hype was real. Now, the movie itself aside, even Tropic Thunder's trailer was a big deal and got everyone talking. The trailer was released in April 2008 and even won an award for Best Comedy Trailer. I didn't even know trailers win awards, but yeah, apparently they do. Now, there were some who were skeptical of the trailer, with the Calgary Herald stating that the movie could either be very good or very bad, with Entertainment Weekly sharing this sentiment by adding that Tropic Thunder could turn into the bloated action spectacle that it's meant to be mocking. A mockumentary was also put together called Reign of Madness, which is a fictional and comical look at the behind the scenes of the making of the movie. And cast members would even attend film festivals and American Idol in order to promote Tropic Thunder. I can even remember there was huge hype for this movie. I have strong memories of going to a movie theatre with my friends. We were either going to see Transformers or one of those Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and before the movie, the trailer for Tropic Thunder came on, and my mates were really hyped and buzzed with it. They were like, it has Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Robert Downey Jr. Yep, we totally want to see this. And of course, I was on board with it too. Speaking of promotional materials, the movie got alternative titles in other parts of the world. This poster translates the movie to Tropical Thunder, Hold On To This. The French poster was called Thunder in the Tropics, You're Going to Take It, Dear. Okay, whatever. And the Chinese release of the movie translated it to Camera Horror, Have a Try. That's an interesting take. However, once news of this outrageous comedy was out there, not everyone was exactly jumping up and down with joy about it. Number 3. Tropic Thunder led to angry protests. So another highly controversial aspect of Tropic Thunder is a character Ben Stiller's Tug Speedman had played in his past called Simple Jack, a comical character who's depicted as being mentally handicapped. As part of Tropic Thunder's promotion, a mock-up trailer for Simple Jack was added to the Tropic Thunder website, which caused an angry retaliation from disability groups and advocates, so the mock-up trailer was taken down. Up to 20 disability groups voiced their concerns over the movie, particularly in regards to the R word. DreamWorks were worried about the backlash and offered members of the groups to a private screening of Tropic Thunder, probably in hopes that they'll all see the movie and just see it as an outrageous comedy, nothing to get offended over here. The private screening incidentally took place the same day as the movie's premiere, and the representatives of the groups who attended the private screening were indeed offended, which led to the disability groups to picket the movie's premiere, with chairman of the Special Olympics, Timothy Shriver, referring to the depictions of disabilities in Tropic Thunder to be hate speech. Several of these groups would go on to urge people not to go and see Tropic Thunder, claiming that it's demeaning to people with disabilities. But despite all this, Ben Stiller defended the movie, claiming that Tropic Thunder isn't picking on disabilities, but the lengths Hollywood actors go to win awards. In other words, actors using something serious like disabilities to cash in on their own credentials and gain awards and accolades. Which, to be fair, is actually something that has happened several times within the Hollywood system, with co-writer Ethan Cohen citing examples like Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, and Sean Penn in I Am Sam. Number 2. Thunderous box office. Tropic Thunder was released in August 2008, and it was a huge hit, nearly bringing in $196 million on its $92 million budget. It's been suggested that two factors that made Tropic Thunder so successful is that it was released in the wake of fellow outrageous comedies 40-Year-Old Virgin and Superbad, both of which were also successful. So clearly at that time there was an appetite for outrageous comedies pushing the limits. And the other reason, because it was released at the end of summer, when all the young people had to go back to school, where Paramount chairman Rob Moore stated that at the end of summer, kids want to forget about going back to school, and going to see a crazy comedy is a good way of forgetting about those woes. And it was the second movie of 2008 after The Dark Knight to be in the #1 spot in the box office for more than 2 weeks. It also got rave reviews from critics too. Someone who was a massive fan of Tropic Thunder was none other than Stephen King, calling it, quote, the funniest, most daring comedy of the year. Paramount were also pushing for Robert Downey Jr. to win an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. And, well, he was nominated, but understandably he lost to Heath Ledger for his role as the Joker. The irony was not lost on Robert Downey Jr. that he played a character who was obsessed with winning awards and being nominated, to the point where he's undergoing unethical means to get there. And meanwhile, in the real world, the studio was pushing for him to win an award for playing that award-seeking character, where he said, quote, "It's so funny to me that the role is a guy who is an Oscar-seeking moron. His whole motivation is Oscars." Irony is synonymous with pretty much everything that's going on. End quote. Regardless, to sum everything up, Tropic Thunder was extremely successful. Number 1. Tropic Thunder in Reflection. So, in recent years, Tropic Thunder has been put under more scrutiny, with several voices and news publications questioning if Tropic Thunder is just an edgy comedy or a grossly offensive movie, which finds humour in racism and people with disabilities. I do think some of these concerns are legit from people who are genuinely concerned, whereas I think others are probably, maybe by news publications who want to generate outrage in order to get clicks. The headlines like, Tropic Thunder slammed for being offensive, or Gen Zers watch Tropic Thunder and find it offensive, oh no! Those kind of headlines. Personally, I think a movie is a movie, and movies aren't real. And if we create a society where we say movies made 10, 20, or 30 years ago now have to be wiped out of existence as they are just too offensive for modern audiences, then you're not really creating a strong society, but rather a weak and paranoid one. But that said, that doesn't mean some people might watch Tropic Thunder and not be offended. After all, a feeling is a feeling. And if that's how someone feels, then that's how they feel. It'll be pointless to argue it. That's just how they feel about it. and you can't really argue with someone's natural reactions. But I guess I'd rather have discussion about it. You know, what was it you didn't like exactly? How did it make you feel? How do we move on from this? Where can we find common ground? In my opinion, that's more productive than cancelling movies or making everyone terrified to cause any offence of any kind. And the reality is that whenever you watch a movie, any movie, no matter what it is, there is a chance that you're not going to like it. And there is a chance that it might rub you the wrong way and you might really dislike it. That's a risk we all take when we consume media. For me personally, I'm more worried about people in the real world saying and doing nasty things and meaning them. In later years, both Ben Stiller and Robert Downey Jr. would defend Tropic Thunder. Downey Jr. said that he has no regrets making the movie, and that within the context of the movie, Tropic Thunder actually shows how wrong and messed up blackface is, rather than promoting it or celebrating it. So in other words, the movie is in no way condoning it or saying, yes, this is how you behave. That's the joke, it's absolutely ridiculous. And Ben Stiller, despite acknowledging that Tropic Thunder could never get made today, maintains that he's proud of the movie, and that even back in 2008, it was still a controversial movie. I guess sort of saying that nothing's really changed. In 2024, Al Pacino actor Brandon T. Jackson claimed that his character justified the Kirk Lazarus character's blackface appearance. As he said within the movie itself, his character calls it out. And yeah, when you watch Tropic Thunder, he's constantly pointing out how ridiculous and stupid the Lazarus character was with his race-changing method. So it's in the movie itself that his behavior is being called out and ridiculed. According to Entertainment Weekly, a studio spokesman said that it's an R-rated comedy movie that is loud and over the top, that satirizes the excesses of Hollywood. And that's the gag. And yeah, pretty much everyone gets made fun of in this movie. No one is spared. Personally, I think Tropic Thunder is a funny movie, but I understand that it's not to everyone's tastes. It's just one of those boisterous movies that, like a naughty school child, completely goes against the rules and completely breaks and destroys all the rules in a glorious, outrageous way. It goes without saying that Tropic Thunder is one of those movies you could only get once in a blue moon. So that was my look into Tropic Thunder, an edgy comedy that's really never been without its controversies, which, by and large, most people seem to love when it first came out, but one that has led to greater debate in recent years. So it'll probably be a movie that will always be accompanied by discussion, and to me, that's fine, as I'm sure it can no doubt lead to some very healthy and interesting insights, and I would rather that than cancel it. We don't learn from the past by erasing it like it never happened. Anyway, I'm Minty, and I think that every now and then you just need an outrageous comedy that doesn't play by the rules but breaks them. See ya!